I've been around the block since Pokemon Red and Blue on the original Game Boy, and ever since then I've been begging Nintendo to release a true Pokemon adventure for the home console. There have been games like Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Snap that have graced the big screens, but I'm referring to a more legitimate Pokemon adventure game where you run around, catch pocket monsters, battle trainers, and eventually become the Pokemon Master. Enter the Nintendo Switch era, and I finally got what I wanted. Well, kind of what I wanted. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are remakes of Pokemon Yellow, which is a remake of Pokemon Red and Blue, the original Pokemon games. This is a completely remastered version with enhanced graphics and animations. The world of Pokemon has never looked so good. Most of the main mechanics still remain, and my favorite part about this game is that it only includes the original 151 Pokemon. This is a nostalgic trip. The Kanto Region is a familiar world, so I had no problem navigating my way around. I saw the same people, the same towns, and most importantly, the same Gen 1 Pokemon. Each town provides its own vibe, from the upbeat Saffron City to the chilling, creepy music of Lavender Town. It was great to revisit this world, but Pokemon Let's Go reminded me that although nostalgia is a powerful feeling, I'm not back in the late 90s anymore. That tough grind that I used to experience on my quest to become a Pokemon Master is now a breeze. The struggle that I used to go through to get to the top was not present in this adventure at all. The main difference you'll notice right off the bat is that there's no more random encounters with wild Pokemon through the grass. Instead, you can see which Pokemon are in the wild and walk up to them for a specific encounter. I actually welcome this new feature because it prevented me from going through a million encounters with a Pokemon like Pidgey. Random encounters still exist, just not necessarily through the grass. An Abra will spawn out of nowhere and I'll try to sprint at him before he teleports off the screen. There's still excitement to finding new Pokemon. The game has more life this way. Being able to see Pokemon outside of battle and in the world makes everything seem so much more realistic, and it was awesome to physically see the scale of each Pokemon, like the size difference between Bulbasaur to Venusaur or Magikarp to Gyarados. What sucks about the new encounters is that you don't fight wild Pokemon anymore. Instead, you have to use the motion controls with your Switch Joy-Con and aim for the circle. I am not a fan of this Pokemon Go style. The motion controls are pretty unresponsive, so if you want to be as accurate as possible, you have to play the game in handheld mode. You can throw in handheld mode by the simple press of a button, but I couldn't enjoy that luxury because I had to play in dock mode, so I do a lot for the viewers. The traditional battle style that you're used to still exists against trainers, and there are plenty of trainers to go through in this game. Just don't expect too much of a challenge. The goal of this game is to convert casual fans that were picked up by Pokemon Go and get them into the traditional Pokemon style game. Think of Pokemon Let's Go as a gateway drug to the hardcore series that will be released in a year or so. The game also serves as a way to get gamers back into Pokemon Go because they can import their Pokemon from the app into the game. There's a method to Nintendo's madness, whether we agree with it or not. Gamers who have kids or younger siblings are excited about this game because it's something they can enjoy with the new generation. The idea is, it's the same game that we know and love, but a lot easier. Nintendo wanted to make this game as easy as possible for the younger generation to pick up and play because it's a business decision. I just don't agree with it. I know I sound like a well-aged, masculine hunk filled with testosterone, but believe it or not, I was once a wee lad. Back when I played Pokemon Red and Blue as a boy, it was not the easiest game in the world, but I was still addicted. Learning which types are super effective in a rock-paper-scissors type manner was so much fun. I almost felt like a little scientist studying Pokemon through trial and error. Kids nowadays don't necessarily have to know much about stats, effective advantages, and movesets. That makes Pokemon lose some of its old magic. They took the same game we remember with the same gyms, Pokemon, and story, but nerfed the difficulty. Even with those negatives, I still had a lot of fun building my team, plowing through gyms, and eventually taking on the Elite Four. I was also very excited about some of the modern tweaks this game made. Throughout my playthrough I said plenty of times, they should have made this change years ago. One example is that HMs are finally gone. You don't have to teach one of your favorite Pokemon useless moves like Cut in order to progress through the game. Instead, your Pikachu or Eevee will learn all the old HMs, but it won't take up their moveset. This might sound confusing. You might be asking how Pikachu can learn how to fly. Well, he just flies this balloon machine for you. You might also ask how can he learn how to surf? Well, you just take a surfboard and then he chills on your back. You shouldn't have to sacrifice your movesets in order to progress through the game. I also love that you can swap Pokemon in and out of your party on the go instead of accessing your PC back at the Poké Center. It's so much more convenient to make these optimizations on the fly. If you're a hardcore Pokemon fan who likes to watch tournaments online and really get into the nitty-gritty of battles, you might be disappointed in how much easier the game is. This is a baby game, there's no other way to put it. Even your rival is nice, which is probably my biggest critique. I want my rival to be an asshole. It ain't no fun when the opposition is nice to you. Other elements like breeding, held items, and abilities are also removed from this installment, but I have to assume they're going to bring it back for the next game. Pikachu or Eevee will be your companion throughout this adventure. They're extra powerful in this game, and the old days where I used to say that Pikachu sucks are no more. I dressed up my Pikachu to match my sailor outfit, and then I changed him into a Team Rocket outfit, so now he's a bad boy. At the end of the day, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is just a way for Nintendo to make a lot of money this holiday through two routes, nostalgia and the prolonged hype of Pokemon Go. It's a mashup between the two. It can convince an old sucker like me to buy it, as well as teach the new generation the mechanics and convert them to the Pokemon lifestyle. South Park has an episode about Pokemon where instead of the catchphrase, "gotta catch 'em all," the catchphrase is, That episode was released in 1999, and it still rings true today. Nintendo released this Pokeball controller, and that's the only way you can obtain Mew. I'm pretty crazy, but I'm not that crazy, so I didn't buy the Pokeball. That's not to say it won't sell well, though. I'm happy that Nintendo released a Pokemon game for my big screen TV. I played through this game, and it took me a good 30 hours to complete. Although I took my sweet time, I truly enjoyed the ride despite how easy it was. This is a great step, but since I'm a big boy, I want a big boy game. As always, thanks for watching, boys and girls. Let me know your thoughts on this game and how you feel about where the Pokemon series is going. What do you want to see in the new Pokemon game that will come out for the Switch next year? Also, let me know your Pokemon lineup in this game. Mine was Pikachu, Venusaur, Gyarados, Arcanine, Gengar, and Snorlax.